we can't look back and change things. We don't have a time machine. And so I say this to you. Acknowledge it and move on and stay in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, gents, everybody in this audience, welcome on in to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist. I am your host today, speaking to you from the luxurious, newly renovated Aventura Studios. A colleague of mine, a mental health colleague of mine said, you know, I have seen this happen repeatedly. I'm going to ask you if you have noted it as well. My observation is that everyone dies with at least one unresolved conflict at the time of their death. And I thought about that for a while, and I said, you know what, it's probably true. You could look at that as a regret. That's probably another name for it, a synonym for unresolved conflicts. And I thought back in my own life, I thought back in the lives of patients that I have had, and many of these can be categorized into a few larger groupings. The first example is one of what we didn't do in terms of marriage. And it has several parts to it. First of all, here is what one person said to himself. Why did I marry that particular woman when it really wasn't the woman that I loved? But my parents thought that it would raise my social standing if only I could marry into that family. But I really did not love the woman. We liked each other, but it was not true love. That's one, marrying the wrong person. Number two, why did I stay married to that person? Even though I knew that there was very little love. And this was bilateral, it was both ways. I don't think she really loved me that much, and I did not love her. Why did I stay married in a situation that was not good for me or for the other person? Why? I lost all that, here it is, time, precious time, in a relationship that really did not mean much to me and was unsatisfying. So there are the two things. Why did I marry the person I did, and why didn't I get out of that marriage that was unsatisfactory? Then we have other things as well. We have another grouping in terms of education. Another one. Here's another one. Why didn't I get my doctorate degree when I could have? I could have made so much more money over time. I wouldn't be in the financial straits that I am now, and I would have had a higher standing both in the community as well as economically. Why did I not go ahead and get my doctorate degree when I was younger? Now I'm older, I don't really feel like I have the mental fortitude or the mental capacity to invest that time and energy into getting a doctorate degree. So there's two. We have one is marriage, and we have two is education. Number three is vocation. Here's another one people say to themselves. Why did I stay in that job for so long, allowing the boss to abuse me verbally, berate me, and always find fault? And on top of it, the wages were very poor. Why did I do it? And you can think of all the justifications that you want. Oh, I just didn't feel like going out and looking for another job. The job paid pretty well. I didn't know if I could match it. I had some seniority at that company. You can think of all the reasons that and justifications that you want. But the bottom line is you were not happy at that job. And yet you stayed. Another thing, why didn't I spend more time with the children? You had children, fine. But they're not always children. They're going to grow up and go on their own. What kind of a relationship will you have once they grow up and look at you as someone who really paid very little attention to them? Why didn't I spend more time with the children? They're only children once in their lifetime. That's another big one, because now I'm at the point where my life is almost over and they don't even bother to come to see me. Regrets about the past. Conflicts. Why didn't I? Why didn't I? And then there are others as well. You have things, why didn't I spend more time cultivating recreational activities? I always liked to bowl. I always loved to bowl. And I wanted to join a league, but I decided not to do it. I didn't have enough time to do it. And I didn't want to associate with some of those people there who used to smoke a lot. And back in the day that they did smoke a lot at the bowling alleys. But I still enjoyed bowling. Why did I not go and participate in this sport that I really enjoyed? I missed a lot of fun and wish I could do it all over again. And literally the list is unending as to the conflicts one might have near the end of his or her life. But what do we do? What do we do about these conflicts? Well, we know that the time is gone. Time has passed us by. So what do we do? What we have to do is not to spend a lot of time thinking about the past, because as we know, and as I've told you, this is very dangerous. But what we have to do is live in the present. You can think about what you could have done or would have done, let's say the bowling or whatever, and there's no reason that maybe that you couldn't do it now. But you can't turn the clock back and unmarry somebody that you've been married to for 50 years. I mean, you could do it, but now what difference does it make? It doesn't really make any difference at this point. After having been married 50 years, there's no point to it. So these are the things that irritate people, that gnaw at them, and it's not as if they don't know it as life has gone on, but they're just too, if you want to use the word, too lazy, or they just have the inertia sets in and they don't make the changes. They don't change spouses, they don't change jobs, they don't participate and join leagues or whatever in terms of sports. They don't do the things now because they're older and they just don't have the initiative. So the best I think that they can do at this point in time is to say, you know, your regrets are valid, but it's not going to help you right now. What you need to do is find out what you can do now. What you can do now. By the way, as far as the divorcing, I do know a guy who did get divorced in his 70s. And he said he just couldn't stand being with his wife anymore. And I'm sure there are relationships where the opposite is true, where the wife could not stand being with the husband either. And you could do it, but by that time it's 50 some odd years. It may be hard to do it, and at the end of your life you just don't want to be bothered anymore. Some people actually just give up. They give up. Life has whipped them into submission. And they just say, you know, whatever it is, I'm just going to live out the rest of my life. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a tough thing to swallow, to realize that all of us more than likely are going to have regrets and going to have unresolved conflicts at the end of our lives. It's just part of living. We can't look back and change things. We don't have a time machine. And so I say this to you. Acknowledge it and move on and stay in the future. Those are the things that you can do to make the best of a situation that perhaps you would have done differently during earlier years in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I remind you, drink! And drink abundantly from the fountain of life. Wait, hold it. I advise you to look at my video, The Time of Your Life. This will discuss the time and the passage of time in life, which I think dovetails quite well with this video. See you next time!